We actually want to begin our show a little bit differently. We are now welcoming in one of our amazing reporters. It is Duncan Maclean. Duncan, thank you so much for being here today.
Phil, thanks for having me. Super fun.
Of course. We definitely want to talk a little bit, give everybody a preview of the story that you're working on today that's going to be coming up in all of our newscasts. And I think, if people can read the bottom of the screen, they might get an idea of what this is all about. But really, it is, kind of appropriate to talk about with the NFL season starting tomorrow and with the Lions playing on Sunday. It really is all about how much is it going to cost us to watch some of these games this year.
Yeah, that time of year, finally kind of get down to brass tacks and think, okay, what do I need to have in, all sorted out by this weekend when the Lions play Sunday, but that first game is coming up tomorrow night for the NFL. And of course, the college season is already off. It's going to cost a lot of money. If you are a hardcore football fan and want to watch every single NFL game, it's going to run you more than $750 this year. If you want Sunday ticket, you want all the out-of-market, you want all the prime time, and those special exclusive streaming options. There's the Christmas Day games on Netflix, Thursday Night Football on Prime. There's one Peacock exclusive, and there's an ESPN Plus exclusive Monday Night Football game. None of those, except for Christmas Day on Thanksgiving, involve the Lions, luckily enough. And I didn't even mention all the international games are exclusive on NFL Plus. So we're up to 10 different broadcast and streaming platforms that you have to have all sorted out, accounts ready, passwords remembered, and money paid if you want to watch every single NFL game. So that's what we're talking about a little bit today.
Right. No, and it is just insane because, I feel like we've all been kind of having these conversations really for the past couple of years. It's when you see all the different streaming rights and licensing moving to all these different companies, you're thinking, okay, do I have to get this one? Is it still going to be on the regular NBC? Do I have to get Peacock for this? Do I have to get NFL Plus or Netflix to watch some of these games? And it's all really starting to add up. I just never really expected it to kind of all come together all at once. And you mentioned that number. What was it? Over $700?
$765.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like most people are already kind of rolling their eyes and at that number, but then kind of realizing that, if you do want to watch all these games, that is kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, if you're a fantasy football addict and have got guys all over the league that you really want to watch, and I've been that way. The other interesting thing that kind of threw another wrinkle into all this today, kind of breaking news here, the AP's reporting that Stream East, a popular illegal sports streaming website, has been shut down for good. A alliance of 50 major broadcast and film production companies came together and worked with Egyptian law enforcement to arrest the guys behind Stream East and take their website down. So if you navigate there right now today, it has links to YouTube TV and DirecTV and all of the legal ways that you can watch these. So that, again, for a lot of people was the solution. The Tigers are on FanDuel, TV Plus or whatever it is now, Bally Sports, whatever it turned into, and the Wings are hard to get locally, and all of those were kind of fixed by these illegal offshore sites, and the biggest one is now a thing of the past, according to the AP anyway. That's what they're saying. So that kind of another wrinkle where folks are... There's going to be a lot of question marks this weekend.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. They're running out of other options, I guess, to maybe mitigate some of those costs. Obviously, we don't condone anybody doing it illegally or anything like that. But again, that was something that a lot of people were using, so much so that they needed to get law enforcement involved to get it shut down and everything like that. You talked to a few major players kind of involved with this to learn a little bit more information. We don't want to give away the full story. Obviously, we want people to tune in later tonight to our newscast to check it out and also check out your web story on woodtv.com later on tonight. But as far as what they were saying about, maybe some tips or maybe even just what to expect, is this something that maybe we're going to be seeing consistently grow, higher and higher as years go on?
I'd imagine that this is only the tip of the iceberg as the NFL sees how much money they can get for selling these standalone games. Netflix paid $150 million to get just the Christmas Day games, which there are 2 for the next 3 years. $150 million for 6 games of football. The NFL, I'm sure, looks at that and says, geez, why aren't we selling more to Netflix? Why aren't we selling more to Prime? That Netflix is a steal compared to what Prime is paying for their suite of Thursday night football games. So as they get more of an appetite and see that, yes, people are going to keep paying, or a lot of people have Netflix already. And that's what we heard from a lot of people we spoke with today. They're like, that one I'm not necessarily super worried about. The Christmas Day thing, people are still a little annoyed. Like, I know Thanksgiving is a Lions tradition, and that is all part of our lives for decades now. But the Christmas Day one is a little more kind of tough to swallow for people. So they're saying, I'm going to be okay missing that.
Spend some time with the family, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah, honestly, this could all just end up being, the NFL's way of being like, you know what, guys, maybe you should go spend some time with the family.
Yeah, they had that ad campaign a couple years ago, football is family.
Right, exactly.
We also talked to a sports bar locally about their costs, because one of the reactions from a lot of people is, well, I'll just go somewhere to watch them. Well, they aren't immune to these cost increases either. And the interesting delineation, YouTube TV got the residential deal for Sunday Ticket, but DirecTV held on to the commercial deal like they've had for 30-some years. So all these bars are really invested in that ecosystem. They know exactly what they're getting. It comes with Peacock, according to the sports bar that we talked to today. But that doesn't mean they're not going to keep hiking the costs. So they were telling me, the sports bar that we talked to, and you can see who it was in our story later on broadcast, but they said they pay as much as $10,000 a year to get the NFL games, just the NFL games.
Yeah.
That's not to mention all the different stuff that they have to get for college football. And, now Michigan State's playing on Peacock. The Big Ten has a Peacock deal. So there's going to be exclusive Michigan games on there this year as well. So it's just kind of this evolving landscape is definitely a headache, too, for them. They said this week they're going, all right, we got to make sure all our subscriptions, all our Fire Sticks are in the right places. We've got the cables all set up, so it's all, legal and good to go. The good news is the Lions, we lucked out in terms of this exclusive. There's only 2 non-broadcast games. That's Christmas Day on Netflix and Week 14 against the Cowboys on Prime. That's our only proper Thursday night game. The, of course, other Thursday being Thanksgiving. That's on Fox. But the Netflix game, if you don't have a subscription, that's a division game. That's the Vikings, and that's Week 17. Where last year we know that game was a very important game for the NFC North. It did decide the division that late in the season. And then Week 18 is still TBD broadcast, so they still could hook us with another streaming exclusive. But all of our Monday night games are standalone Monday nights. When there's 2 Monday night games, that's when you get one on ABC and one on ESPN, which can, if you're going with a basic cable package, ESPN is not included. So you have to add that on if you want those. But all of the Lions Monday night games are standalone Monday nights. So it's ESPN simulcast with ABC. So we don't have to worry about that. We've got 8 on Fox, 2 on ESPN, ABC, 2 night games on NBC, which of course you can get right here on Wood TV or over on our broadcast. 2 on CBS. And then the Netflix and Prime. No international games for us, so we don't have to deal with the NFL Plus. So we did okay, but it still is, it's quite the feat.
I'm glad you're the one in charge of having to put this all together. Just hearing you got to get ESPN Plus, you got to do that. I mean, it's got to be complicated, not just for us sports fans, but even just trying to figure out, for these teams, how do you tell people, hey, we're going to be on this channel, and be sure to, I feel like you want. For teams, it's easier to have that kind of backing in person, but you do want those fans to still watch and keep up with the team on television too. So again, it's all just super complicated, no matter which way you kind of slice it.
Even just figuring out myself for the research on the story on what you should have. It took me a couple hours this morning, honestly. Tips over the air. You can still get all the network channels over the air with an antenna. That only runs you $20 at Best Buy. So that would get you almost all of the Lions games. It actually would get you all of them except for Netflix and Prime. So you'd only miss 2 games. And that is really cost effective as long as you have a strong signal, which most places in West Michigan, you'll get those networks in a strong enough signal to do that. There are a couple dead spots in Holland where actually Wood comes in at a moderate signal strength, according to the FCC. But other than that, unless you're kind of in the far-flung regions of our viewing network, most of that stuff would be pretty good over the air. So maybe the reaction to all of this is as we get more and more complicated, you know what? I'm just throwing some bunny ears up.
Yeah,
and
right.
We're just gonna get it
Exactly.
over the air.
Go back in time a little bit. Right.
Exactly. So yeah. I could keep talking about this all day.
Right.
Phil.
But now we got to figure out how to use bunny ears. I mean, when was the last time you even broke those out?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I truly wouldn't know. Yeah, I'm sure the fine folks at your local tech store will help you figure that out.
Right.
But those will run you, $20 for the very basic If you're in a metro area, that'll be plenty to get all those signal strength. You can go up to $150 if you really need the 100-mile radius, if you're up in Crystal Lake or some of the further flung places. But yeah, that over the air might be the move.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, compare $20 to, almost $800.
Yeah,
it's kind of a no-brainer there.
Even if you want to just do the broadcast games, not Sunday ticket or anything. I mean, a basic cable package right now is still at least $40, and with equipment on Xfinity, it goes up to $83 if you want 11 channels. So maybe we're getting into. Maybe we should pump the brakes.
Yeah, right. We're exploring a whole
terrestrial TV.
Right.
That would be kind of painful for us, but I mean, there are connected TV apps like right here. Wood TV Plus is among them that you can research, and there's better ways around that. If you want just Sunday ticket, $288 for the season. If you want Sunday ticket and Red Zone, it's $330. And then you can add on a discounted subscription to YouTube TV itself. On top of that, they'll bundle it all together. And that's where you get that top level if you want Red Zone and all the out-of-market games.
Right,
and YouTube TV, just in case. Plus the streaming services, that's where you get that $700 number. But most people won't have to pay that.
Well, if I could offer just some tips for everybody watching, I know this is kind of, daunting to hear all this stuff right now, but especially if you can maybe grab those bunny ears and maybe you only miss 2 games, well, just know you're going to see all the highlights here on News 8. We have an incredible sports team. They're going to have you covered with all those highlights. It's a little bit different, I know, than watching the game in real time, but, at least you have that, and you can watch it right here on Wood TV Plus for free, so don't even have to pay for that.
Look at that. Look at that, Phil. What a plug.
Cross-promotion,
It's true.
Yeah,
we have a hardworking sports department who's going to keep us updated. And that's not to mention the playoffs.
Yes.
Lord knows. So all bets are off once we get there.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, Duncan, we'll let you get back to it again. Duncan's story is going to be airing later on today in our newscast, so be sure to tune in there. And also, be sure to check out our website, woodtv.com, to see the full article and full story there below, coming up again later today. So, Duncan, thank you so much for stopping by. We always do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. See you, folks.
Of course.